I'm Sonny Byerly, and I'm the Wright County Sheriff.
I'm Michaela Byerly, and I'm married to Sonny.
As a young guy, I got into the fire department because we have a volunteer fire department. And from there, I worked up to being an emergency dispatcher, and then from there, I got into being a county deputy. A drastic difference between being a volunteer fire department. I mean, it's two different realms of first responding, for one. Not that the firefighters don't see their own dynamics of bad situations, but being the sheriff, I see all of my guys as bad experience. You know, just being a county deputy, I would see mine and maybe whoever I was working with, you know, at the time, some of the tragic incidents or the critical incidents that were taking place. You would hear about them, but you wouldn't see them firsthand. And now I'm seeing all of them firsthand because I'm their last line of defense. I mean, everything that comes in that's bad, I'm called to. So all of my county deputies, when they're in a bad situation, I see all of those. So my philosophy has always been, you have to have someone to help you if you cut your arm. But a lot of times we were stereotyped for having some type of brain injury called post-traumatic stress. And so a lot of people didn't want that persona. You know, you're a male or you're a female in a police officer's position. You're supposed to be a bigger person. You're supposed to be bulletproof. And what we've learned over the last several decades is we're not bulletproof. You know, having post-traumatic stress is a lot like having a broken leg. You know, if you don't go to the doctor to get that fixed, you're still going to have that broken leg.
Sometimes I feel like it's just as hard for the family. So, you know, you have your normal marriage things and struggles and family and life struggles, but you don't. It's hard to know what's going on in their head. I feel like men more than females don't share their emotions. They keep it all tied up, trying to be the tough guy. Even at home, I've got to be the protector. I have to be the strong person. And I can tell something's not right, but it's hard to know how to handle it. He doesn't respond the same way as maybe I would respond to things. And so sometimes it's just, I feel like if I had a coach or someone to help me, that I could be a better wife to him. And I feel like maybe I could help him through those struggles. I feel like it's a little uncharted. It's not like you can just go talk to anybody down the road and they can help you or understand what you're going through. And sometimes it's hard to articulate and you don't want to tell the wrong person. You know, you kind of, you know, you have to keep things in and deal with it. You know, of course, God is our strength and that's where we get our strength from. But God uses people as well.
That's something that comes up a lot, is just how unique the challenges are for first responders and military in specific. And you're even pointing out it could be different between fire and
well, I mean, if you take a dispatcher, they're hearing the call firsthand. They may not be living it in vision, in true color, but they are living that. I mean, if you have a fire where someone's screaming in the background because they're trapped in a fire, they're living that incident. And then you take the firefighter that's going in there and they're seeing the wreckage during and afterwards. I mean, what are they seeing? You know, it's the same in law enforcement. You know, I mean, that dispatcher's got to see that as well. You know, I mean, through their ears. And then the police officer's living it in true color, you know, and if you take a high-pitched scream from an officer, that automatically puts you in fight or flight as a dispatcher even, or anybody that's listening to this on the broadcast. The last thing a person wants to do is talk about it. You know, I mean, you live through something that's really bad. Most spouses want to hear about your day. They want to know about that call. They want to get the details. And at that point, it's like, I don't want to talk about it. You know, so she's right. I mean, spouses and kids need to be trained to be spouses and kids. They need coaches to say, hey, do this, don't do this, or try this, don't try that, you know, and it's tough because that stereotype still hasn't been lifted. You're taking a group of men and women who are putting their lives on the line yet you're putting your foot on their throat because you're stereotyping them. I mean, there's times that, and she can testify, that I struggle, but I still have that 9 o'clock meeting that I got to go in and be a professional person. I've got to put the face of a sheriff on. Or if I'm a deputy, I've got to put the face of a deputy sheriff on because I've got to testify in court. And I may be the one struggling that day. It's not something that may be every day, but something on a call that happened to you, or something that reminded you of a call or something, may have popped back up and gave you that moment of crisis. Not that it's not going to pass or it can't pass, but you still have to put on your face of society, and you have to go back out there and be the person that society hired you to do.
We live, a few miles away from here, and it's hard to separate yourself, disconnect is the word I was looking for. Even because you have your phone, you have the kids, if this is my house, people show up here, you always still have to be a little bit ready. So to come somewhere like that, we even look for that sometimes. Where can we go just to get away, where our phones will not go off because they don't have service or whatever. And it's like, I feel like God heals just by being in nature and being quiet, because everything's so loud. And I feel like that we can hear God better when it's just us and him. There's nothing else here but what he created. And I feel like every person, regardless if they're a first responder, needs that. When you donate to Heroes Rest, it means you are giving someone the opportunity to rest that may not have that opportunity. An opportunity to regroup and come back and be stronger and better.